All right, Nick, let's take a look at your paper. Mla Format first. Number 1, we need to have Times New Roman for all of this. Number 2, this needs to be the correct date of turn in, the date the assignment's due. So it should be 6 March 2017. This does not look like 12-point font, so you want to fix that as well. All right, you start off with a quote, which isn't bad. In Act 4 of Macbeth, as soon as you mention the play, mention the author too. In Act 4 of Macbeth by William Shakespeare, and then go on from there. You don't do a bad job, Nick, in the beginning of kind of setting up not only the disorder. We're going to get into the main points here in just a second, the symptoms and everything. You don't do a bad job of setting it up. It gets a little wordy at times, but I mean, you use utter insanity and lunacy and, anyways, good words, but upon further inspection, Macbeth had, without a doubt, developed bipolar disorder. Now, even things like that, without a doubt, I mean, the fact that you're writing about it means there's no doubt since you think it's important. So, do you need that? That's the kind of thing that maybe you can get rid of. So from there on out, all right, so here is your thesis statement, okay? What I wouldn't mind you doing is separating your main points out of that, because it gets really, remember I said something about being wordy, it gets really wordy in here in this thesis statement. So if you can make those main points first and then get into the thesis, that'd be good. So I'm going to read this without the main points, and I'll talk about what I'm seeing. From there on out, Macbeth quickly made his descent into madness that involved dreadful decisions that governed him to a narrow pathway of deceit, insanity, and killing that would ultimately lead to his inevitable demise. Well, if it's ultimately, it's inevitable too. So again, a little bit too wordy. Now, what I would argue is that you got way too much going on in here. So he quickly made his descent into madness. So you have that theme. You have the dreadful decisions. You have that theme. And then you have narrow pathway of deceit, insanity, and killing, which is another complete different theme that ultimately led to his demise, which is another theme. So you got almost way too much stuff working out in here. We need to maybe narrow it down a little bit. Focus on one aspect of it, that it's a narrow path of deceit. Insanity is relative, maybe a little bit, as far as if he has bipolar, is he really insane? That sort of concept might come up. So let's just work on that. Okay, you got a tab issue here. Make sure the tab goes all the way over there. All right, so I would argue all of this stuff up into this is almost like introduction material, and I already maybe told you there's too much in your introduction already, but this doesn't really get into the heart of the matter. The heart of the matter is that his first symptom is these manic episodes. And to talk about that a little bit. If you do keep it, this comma's not needed. This comma's not needed. This period goes inside the quote. In Act 2, comma, Scene 1 of Macbeth, he experiences first hallucination. Now, you cite an outside source, but you don't have any in-text citation, and that's going to hurt you in the long run. You got to use in-text citation. I know you kind of verbally cite it right here, but you got to use that in-text citation at some point, Nick. Okay, so because of the recent stress, and this is a wrong use of a colon. This isn't proper. So you got to fix that. Now, if you're going to make sure for all the acts and the scenes, you lowercase them. You don't capitalize act and scene there. And again, put the comma in there in between. Now, we want to keep talking about, if this is really about hallucinations, we want to keep talking about hallucinations. So where's Banquo's ghost in this? Where is your, more information about the dagger and what that ultimately means? And again, we got to go back to your thesis statement. Is your thesis statement actually being used in here? And I get that he's driven further into madness, and the idea of killing Duncan becomes a reality. This is a sentence fragment. It's not a complete sentence. But we need a little bit more kind of focus here. So topic sentence, outside source. Where do you see Macbeth, with this symptom? What does it ultimately mean? Just try to frame it like that. You do have some good stuff in here, but we just got to, organize it a little bit better. All right, we want to have a better transitional phrase here. Nick, so make sure that you can put a transitional phrase in there. Number 2, I think you use very at least 3 times in this paragraph. Do not use the word very or really, either one. In your writing, it's not very steep. It's, think of a different word that means very steep. Okay, is abrupt, whatever. You also cannot use you. That's changing point of view. That's going to minus you a point on your rubric as well. So make sure that you don't mess with point of view shifts as well. All right. So he had these internal arguments, and at this point, like, you talk about insanity, but I don't even know what symptom you're talking about yet. Is it internal arguments, impulsive decisions, I'm assuming, is what you're trying to get at. But again, a clear topic sentence will tell us Macbeth suffered from impulsive decisions that ultimately did what? That is your topic sentence here that we need to see. So continue to work on those. Continue to add outside sources, because you don't have any in here as well. No cited sources, at least. We have a wrong use of a semicolon there. He does not stop to consider the consequences, so you don't need a comma there. So you can get rid of that one. So yeah, there we go. Macbeth's impulsiveness is another symptom of bipolar disorder. So there's your topic sentence way down here, and you're halfway through the sentence already. So, what can we do to move this up and make it more clear so that this stuff makes sense? So we must address Macduff. The only solution is to kill his entire castle, including his family. However, this leads to all of England opposing Macbeth. Now, I don't think they were already ready to attack Scotland by this point. By the end of Act 3, they're ready to attack. So I don't think that's the nail in the coffin. It's the nail in the coffin for Macduff that he needs to kill Macbeth, but that's probably the only thing. So if you want to bring that up, you can. And again, I don't think he could have avoided conflict with England at all. He's brought even closer to his demise through his impulsiveness. Again, we need a transition. Now that we talked about impulsiveness, now we're going to talk about delusions, something like that. Okay. All right. Another thing too, which I'm not sure you know, I'm going to fix this for you. Your text needs to be all black, and it's not. See, it just changed. Okay. So I'll fix that for you. Oh, and of course this gets messed up. All right, Nick. So in this paragraph, your topic sentence needs a little bit more. I like that they give birth to his delusion of invincibility. But again, tie it back into the symptom first before you, and talk about what it does to him before you get too far ahead. Now, you don't have any outside sources, which we got to fix as far as the symptoms go. And then you do have the quote from the play that you bring up. You could probably get to your point of this a little bit faster, though, since you spend a lot of the time going through what exactly happens, which, again, you should assume that the reader knows what's going on. By the time you add that outside source, shorten this and then get into that, because basically all you're saying is that, guess what? He has the symptom of delusion of invincibility. You're not tying it into a greater theme or a greater concept. So you really got to work on that in this particular paragraph. You also have some punctuation errors here. No comma there that you got to fix as well. All right, let's take a look at your conclusion. All right, so in your conclusion, this is a restatement of your thesis statement. Although, again, we talked about taking those symptoms out of here and focusing more on other aspects of it. This is a wrong use of a semicolon. After this, you need to go through all of your symptoms one by one, which you don't. You have a wrong use of a semicolon here. So just fix those key punctuation errors. You have some key moments such as this where the trigger, so you don't need a comma there. But yeah, you need to make sure that you go through each main point and run through it thoroughly. And then your end sentence needs some work too. It's weak. It doesn't do anything to help. Your works cited page, remember, it's got to be in alphabetical order. You never cite this, so did you actually cite it or not? But again, remember, it's not good enough just to have the works cited page. You have to actually cite in the text those things. And As we go back through and look at your paper, you don't have anything but the book cited. So all of these things have to be cited. This is not the version of the play that you looked at. This is not even a thing that should be in here. This is the Healthline article that you cited, so you don't need this here because of the question mark. But more than likely, she's not the writer of the whole website, so you're going to start with this first, which would change the alphabetical order. All right, Nick, work on those few things, especially the tying the thesis in better, and hopefully we'll see a rewrite out of you.